Hi kids, welcome back. This is a long time coming, this video. In fact, I started filming it, I think maybe twice, but that was before the great computer apocalypse of 2025, where I lost my videos and pretty much lots of stuff. Anyway, let's get on with it. We're talking about building possibly my favorite robot. Well, he's on a par with R2-D2, but it's Marvin from the BBC Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What a classic design. Not too sure who designed him. It's most likely Jim Francis, who worked at the BBC at the time. He was built in something like 3 weeks, which is crazy. The way they built him was carved a lot of pieces out of wood and basically sanded them, chopped them, whatever, and made molds and fiberglassed them. Most of Marvin is completely symmetrical. The arms are mirrored, obviously. The legs are exactly the same, front and back, left and right. Same with the body. I love him. Douglas Adams apparently was not incredibly in love with that design. He wanted something more darker and like tough looking. He said he wanted something to look like a Volvo. And obviously the one in the Martin Freeman movie with the giant head, played by Warwick Davis. Nice try, but no cigar. This is the definitive Marvin for me and many people. I bought a... Let's get comfy. I bought a 3D printed Marvin. I tried to build one myself, but my CG skills are not as good as they used to be, despite having a degree. So I bought this from Gambody, which is quite a cheap for an STL file. I'm glad it was cheap, because to get it printed in resin was not cheap. A couple of companies quoted me at £300. Yeah, he said, no thanks, no thank you. No thank you, please. In the end, I found someone on Etsy who did it for just under 100 quid, which sounds like quite a lot. But when you see how beautiful the resin print is and how smooth and how little prep work you need to do to it, the better. My love for Marvin obviously goes back to the 1981 TV series, but I didn't get around to doing anything about that until about 5 years ago, when I built a full-size, it took me 4 years, mind, a full-size Marvin costume to wear, which I can tell you now, I only wore it twice, and it was the most painful thing I've ever done in my life. All the weight of everything except the legs is on your shoulders there, and after about 10 minutes, everything really hurts. But it's an amazing suit, and I won a competition in Newport at a Comic-Con. I won 500 quid, which helped fund my filmmaking efforts. And then I got invited to the final in Liverpool, where I went up, wore Marvin for that. It sustained a bit of damage, which I managed to fix with gaffer tape. And I met John Cena, and I didn't win the competition, because basically Comic-Cons, as you know, are for much younger people who are into gaming and anime, and they had no idea who Marvin is. Although I don't know where the footage is. It's probably on my channel somewhere. If you look back, search for Marvin, you'll see my Liverpool excursion there. And when I come on stage, some girl in the audience shouts, "I love you, Marvin!" And that made my day more than anything. So I was going to keep Marvin on display for a while. I knew I wasn't going to wear him again because he was way too uncomfortable. But in the end, I ended up selling him. He went to a science fiction museum in Milton Keynes, and he's still there to this day, standing next to Ludo and a necromonger. I do have to visit him at some point. So I will just say thank you to everyone who helped me make Marvin. I had help in funding him through a Kickstarter, and you know, I'm actually glad that it went to a museum where people can see it. Now, he is marked up as not the original, but I will say thank you to the great Mike Tucker from the model unit, who in 2018 let me go visit him, take photos of the real thing that he now owns, that it made a cameo in the Hitchhiker's movie with Martin Freeman anyway. And if you want to see the real one, I think he's currently still on display at the Gunnersbury Park Museum in London. But fun fact, the stickers on the chest, the GPP and Sirius Cybernetics Corporation stickers on the chest of the real Marvin in Gunnersbury Park are my stickers that I used for my Marvin. Because when Mike had the real Marvin renovated for the movie, the stickers had gone. So I messaged him after I'd finished my Marvin and said, do you want some stickers? And he said, yeah, they'll be great. And he put them back on. So it's quite nice and zen how his generosity in letting me take photos of Marvin. I didn't take any measurements, weirdly enough. You'll see the comparison photos anyway. His thing led to me making my Marvin from 2018 onwards. And then the stickers that ended up on my Marvin go back to the original Marvin to help finish him off. So that's nice. So that was good. And it's good that people can get to see the results of my work. There's a heck of a lot of 3D printing. People were helping me out with vac forming, 3D printing, design, CAD, electronics, you name it. Also test fitting and all that kind of malarkey. It was a very, very expensive build. And yes, I raised about £1,000 on a Kickstarter to help get him made, but he cost in the region of about £5,000 over the 4 years. So anyway, I always wanted a decent sized figure of Marvin, which the toys don't exist. There are no Hitchhiker's toys. If someone's making Hitchhiker's figures, and I'm not talking little 28mm LED ones or gaming ones, I want Hot Toys. Well, I can't afford Hot Toys, but something about 1/6 or 1/5 scale, that'd be great. So this Gambody company has done a really nice model of Marvin. Now, having spent 4 years building a Marvin, it's not 100% accurate. You know, the person inside me that was like agonizing over every little detail can tell the difference, but it's still a stunning looking model. I did unbox the pieces, and I've lost the unboxing video. So let's get all the pieces out and I'll talk you through them for this video. And next time, whenever that is, maybe a Babylon 5 coming up, next time we'll get to assembly and looking at how I'm going to paint it and finish it off. Okay, let's do that. Here we are upstairs in the attic of achievement, and here are the pieces. So let's get them out bit by bit. As you can see, he is really nice. He is assembled, but there's no glue. There is literally no glue holding this together. There's pins for the arms, which obviously got to go all the way in. But currently, let's have a look at it. Let's talk about the head first. It's dead smooth. There is a strange line there, which I'm going to fix. But it's gorgeous. It's really nice. Now, you may be wondering, what's this green thing here? That is my attempt to make up for stupidity. When this arrived, the eyes were filled in. Now, basically, they give you an option. This is a very clever print. You can have the eyes filled in and just paint them orange, or you can pop them out and put lights or whatever in there, which is what I wanted to do. Now, I tried to push them out and they weren't working, so I thought maybe I'll have to drill them out and then, cut them with a scalpel and sharpen them up. So that's what I did. I got my little Dremel, pushed the first one, it popped in straight away. The second one took a while. The drill fell through really quickly, and on the way out, it chipped a little bit off the top edge there of the triangle, and that really annoyed me. So I've actually put some milliput in there. That's what the green stuff is. And I've sanded and carved it pretty much as good as I can so far. I'm going to give this a coat of primer, which will blend all the colours in, and we'll see what the damage is. And I'll probably do a little bit more sanding and cutting and whatever to make it, because I didn't want to just throw this away and have a whole new head printed, which might be expensive. But still, it's really nicely done. It really matches the original in most places. The bits that aren't accurate aren't even worth talking about. It does come with a mouthpiece somewhere. Here it is. The little mouthpiece has got a bit of texture on it. Which way is it? That way. And it just pops in there. which is going to be white mesh. Yeah, I had a spare forearm as well, which is very nice. Some very thin parts. I think some of these spare parts are printed because they do tend to break. I had a spare upper arm, which did break. One of the discs broke off here, but it's okay. I've got enough. The torso is super nice. I'll just take the arms off. That's a solid piece, that is. It's not very heavy, but very, very smooth. Cleanup wise, there are a couple of things inside the ridges here. There's a couple of little, blobs of plastic which can be sanded out with a bit of sandy, but it's very true to the real thing. I think I'm actually going to glue the arms and hands in position. You can have it sort of posable, as I'll show you on the hand now. This hand does not have any glue in it, but the mandibles, or as I used to call them, handibles, are just held in with a little sort of a little bit of pressure, and they're removable. But I think I'm going to glue them in. I don't want them to lose, and I don't really want to pose it a lot. Now the legs, you don't have a choice. They are solid, but they're slightly bent this way, so you can work out that would be the front. Again, very true to the original, completely symmetrical as the originals were, and they go into these little plugs that have a ball on the end. This is a spare, and they go into the hip section, which has a little bit of a ball and joint thing going on, and it's held in. You can see it pops in like that, and it's held in by a collar which is actually threaded. Here's the other one, and you basically thread that onto there. It's very cleverly done, you see, and it's in, and then that pops on there, and then you've got a little bit of movement. But again, I'm probably going to put a blob of super glue on this when I'm happy in the right pose. You can't do a lot of posing with Marvin anyway, as I found when I tried to walk in the suit. You can't do too much. So for safety and security and keeping in one spot, again, you'll notice the front and back are symmetrical, except for this little flat detail here. That denotes the front. The back has a slightly wider piece. The reason that was put on is because the legs would crack the skirt. I found that as well, and these help to strengthen the cracks and everything. So they put a bigger one on the back and a smaller one on the front. So they've even got that right. Now that pops into the bottom of the torso in there, but it's a little bit tight, so there's a little bit of sanding needing there, and then it'll pop in. And then he stands on this rather nice stand. It needs a sanding on the bottom, it's a little bit rough, but it says Marvin 1981, and it's an octagonal stand. I may even glue him down to the base, I don't know. But in all, I mean, there's quite a lot of pieces. There's another leg. You might be able to see some of the greeblies in the, well, they're quite rough, little spots of plastic that needs sanding into slots, so we'll sort all that out. And then we'll give it a coat of primer, white or even black, just to see what he looks like. But it's pretty awesome. Oh yeah, let's talk about the chest unit. So the hole for the chest unit is there. Marvin never had any lights on these parts, but he did have a lot of lights in the chest unit box. So it goes up that way. They've made it so that will pop in like a sort of cover. It's not going to stay, is it? No. But this is for, if you want to put lights in, you can put like a little battery box up here and a switch, for example. Put the wires up there and the lights into the head, which is probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to find something to go inside the head for the eyes, but I quite like that. I'm not going to drill a million holes into the chest unit there. They're far too small, and I'll only ruin it. But, any light that's in there may come out through the grill, etc. There's another grill at the top here. Where are we? Here it is. I mean, that's just a flat piece, to be honest. I don't think there's even any texture on it, but that just goes on there. But again, a lovely piece. And I am looking forward to this. My biggest challenge will be to make sure that I've got the tones of silver and stuff right. I could spray them completely silver and job done. But I know that these pieces on the front are made of ribbed aluminium, which is a less shiny silver. But that is basically silver paint that's had a lacquer over it, so it almost looks like a shiny grey rather than a silvery paint. And then when you get to the sides, there was metal plate on there, like aluminium plate, which is a lot shinier. And the collars around the shoulders, they were chrome. So I do have chrome tape, or I could buy some chrome pens perhaps, that kind of thing. The top of the torso, the square base there, is going to be black because of they had rubber sheet. There was some rubber sheet on the sides of the skirt as well, there and there, with another aluminium strip down there. Aluminium strip all the way down the legs, black and silver feet, black around the soles. So I want to try and give it a finish that's very close to the original costume rather than just blatting it with silver, but I think that's going to be good fun. So I'm not going to stretch this out into long videos, so wish me luck. We'll do a bit of cleanup in the next video and maybe look at giving it some primer. Back to other Terry. Okay, so those are the pieces of Marvin. That is my plan for going forward. Tune in next time. I will save this video on a playlist for making Marvin, but I'm not going to stretch it out over lots of videos. It'll be probably 2 or 3 videos tops. And hopefully we'll have a really nice Marvin at the end of it. And at this point, I'm still hoping to get some lights in his eyes. That would be really cool. Anyway, life, don't talk to me about life. That's it for this week. Take care now. Bye-bye then.